Hey everyone. So let's talk about I Am Legend. More specifically, let's talk about that ending. Or I should say, those endings. Because if you're like me, you walked out of the theater in 2007 feeling, okay, a little hollow. Will Smith sacrifices himself, blows up the monsters, becomes a legend. It's heroic, it's grand, it's exactly what a big studio blockbuster does. And for years, that was the ending. But it always felt like there was a ghost of another movie hiding in there, a deeper, more challenging idea that got left on the cutting room floor. Turns out, we were right. The alternative ending wasn't just a deleted scene, it was a completely different philosophical conclusion. And now, with I Am Legend 2 officially on the way, that alternative ending isn't just a what if, it's the foundation of the entire future of this story. So let's unpack it all. Let's dig into the two endings, cook up some theories on what they really mean, and stare into the future to guess what comes next. The two endings, a tale of two legends. First, let's lay them out side by side, not just as plot points, but as emotional and thematic statements. The theatrical ending, The Martyr. This is the one most people know. Neville, Anna, and Ethan are trapped in the lab basement. The alpha male Darkseeker is smashing through the glass. Anna is reciting the "Light Up the Darkness" quote from Bob Marley. Neville looks at a vial of his potentially curative blood, looks at the photograph of his family on the monitor, and makes a choice. He gives the vial to Anna, shoves her and Ethan into a secure vault, and pulls the pin on a grenade. "I can save you! I can save everybody!" he yells, not to Anna, but almost to the ghost of his mission. He sacrifices himself, killing the Darkseekers and becoming the legend who gave humanity a cure and a final, violent victory over the monsters. On the surface, it works. It's emotionally charged. Neville completes his arc from detached scientist to selfless hero. He becomes a Christ-like figure, dying for humanity's sins, in this case, the KV virus. The movie frames him unequivocally as the hero, and the Darkseekers as the monsters he must destroy. It's a clean, if tragic, resolution. But it's also simple. It asks no difficult questions of the audience. We leave feeling sad for Neville, but justified. The alternative ending, The Reckoning. This is where the movie gets interesting. The setup is the same, trapped in the lab, the alpha pounding on the glass. But then, the female Darkseeker Neville has captured reacts violently to his attempts to test a cure on her. In her thrashing, the symbol of a butterfly is visible on her skin. The alpha slams his fist against the glass, and as he pulls it back, we see he's drawn a perfect, smeared butterfly in his own blood. And Neville freezes. The camera holds on his face, and you see a decade of certainty crumble in an instant. That symbol, it's not random. It's communication. It's a plea. It's proof. These aren't just rabid animals. They have memory, identity, connection. The female isn't a test subject. She's his mate. The alpha isn't leading a mindless horde, he's on a desperate rescue mission. And in that moment, Neville realizes the horrifying truth. He is the monster in their story. He is the boogeyman who comes in the daylight, kidnaps their loved ones, and kills them in his lab. He is their legend. So, he does the unthinkable. He stops fighting. He slowly, deliberately releases the female from her restraints. He opens the secured door. He steps back. The alpha enters, gently gathers his mate, and locks eyes with Neville. There's no gratitude, but there's a recognition, an understanding that the hunt is over. And then they leave. No final battle, no explosion, just silence and the devastating weight of Neville's epiphany. He, Anna, and Ethan then leave New York alive, the cure in hand, but the moral victory utterly ambiguous. This ending isn't about heroic sacrifice. It's about perspective. It fundamentally changes the entire film you just watched. Every Darkseeker Neville has ruthlessly killed in his traps is reframed. His fortified townhouse isn't a bastion of humanity, it's a predator's lair. The title, I Am Legend, flips from being about his future martyrdom to being about his present-day infamy among the new, dominant species. Theories and deeper meanings. What's really going on? The alternative ending opens up a Pandora's box of fascinating theories that the theatrical version slams shut. Theory 1. The Darkseekers are not a regression, but an evolution. We assume the virus devolved humans into monsters. But what if it was an adaptation? The photosensitivity forces a nocturnal, hive-like society. Their increased aggression and physicality are perfect for a new, harsh world. The theatrical ending sees them as a dead-end mistake to be cured.
The alternative ending suggests they are the new normal, a new society with its own rules, bonds, and culture, symbolized by the butterfly tattoo. Neville isn't trying to restore humanity, he's attempting genocide on the successor species. Theory 2. The cure isn't salvation, it's a weapon. In the theatrical end, the cure is a holy grail. In the alternative version, it's a far more troubling object. What do you do with it? Do you forcibly cure beings who have built a new society, essentially committing cultural annihilation? Or is it merely a vaccine for the remaining immune humans, a way to ensure two species can coexist without infection? The vial Neville holds isn't just medicine, it's a political and ethical bomb. Theory 3. Neville's true arc, from scientist to myth to man. His entire journey is about clinging to purpose. First, it's finding a cure as a scientist. When that fails, it becomes survival and hunting as a soldier. The theatrical ending lets him fulfill a third purpose, martyr. It's a clean end to the arc. The alternative ending strips him of all these purposes. He is no longer the savior scientist or the righteous hunter. He's just a man who was wrong. His final act isn't one of grand purpose, but of humble, heartbreaking correction. His legend isn't one he creates through death, but one he dismantles through an act of humility. I Am Legend 2. What comes next? Warner Brothers has confirmed the sequel will follow the alternative ending as canon. Will Smith and Michael B. Jordan are attached. So, where does the story go from that quiet, profound moment? The setting: a world remade. We won't be in empty New York anymore. The sequel will likely jump years ahead. We'll see the world the Darkseekers have built. Imagine complex, dark nest cities. Maybe they've developed primitive tools, communication beyond symbols, and a deep-seated cultural memory of the daylight demon, Robert Neville. Meanwhile, human survivor colonies likely exist, possibly fortified and fearful, maybe led by someone like Anna. The central conflict: coexistence or war. The core drama won't be humans versus monsters. It will be old humanity versus new humanity versus the infected. The cure vaccine is the ultimate MacGuffin. One faction might want to use it as a weapon to eradicate the Darkseekers. Another, perhaps led by an older, guilt-ridden Neville, might argue for peace or segregation. The Darkseekers themselves, now with a clearer intelligence, might see the cure as an existential threat and act to destroy it. Or, in a fascinating twist, a radical faction of them might want the cure to regain their lost humanity. Neville's role: the bridge and the penance. Neville won't be an action hero. He'll be a living relic, a walking piece of contested history. To the humans, he's the genius who found the cure. To the Darkseekers, he's a war criminal, the boogeyman. His journey will be one of atonement. He might be the only one who can negotiate, because he's the only one who has looked into the Alpha's eyes and seen a person. His goal won't be to save humanity, but to prevent a second apocalypse, this one born of hatred between two kinds of people. A bold prediction: the legacy of the title. The first film's title referred to Neville. In the sequel, legend could become a key to the plot. What if the Darkseekers have mythologized him? What if their entire social structure or religion is built around fear of the light and the legend of the man who stole their people? Unraveling that myth could be key to peace. Or Michael B. Jordan's character, rumored to be connected to the Marley family from the first film, might become a new legend for a new generation. The genius of the alternative ending is that it trades a moment of cinematic catharsis for a lingering, uncomfortable question. It rejects the easy comfort of a hero's death and forces us to sit in the messy, morally gray silence of a man who realizes he's been the villain. And that's why the sequel has such staggering potential. It's not just continuing a story, it's vindicating a deeper, braver idea that the studio was too scared to release back in 2007. We're not getting a generic monster movie sequel. We're getting a post-apocalyptic story about the weight of history, the poison of prejudice, and the fragile hope for peace after the end of the world. It's a story that starts not with a bang, but with a quiet act of understanding, the release of a captive, and the end of a legend. For one, can't wait to see what grows from that silence.